Well, maybe you
Yeah,
guys
we're
can
doing it
step
here.
out. You guys can step out and we can retreat
Sure.
this as the hospital. I don't
Oh,
see-
okay.
You two step out.
Somebody can say Roger response needed,
All
or
right.
Hunter?
But just tell me which patient this one.
It's
Zena
on your paper, it
Badowski.
says David, but it's Davida.
Be easy on us, okay?
That's what you
Third
have
one.
to ask
No.
Dr.
The
B.
third one, there you go.
That's part of the RRT role.
Imagine it,
Okay, I have to,
Glioblastoma.
you have to be Meryl
Imagine
Streep.
me as my daughter.
Meryl Streep, the temporary
You have too much information
Don't
already.
read
Yeah.
it, don't
Yeah,
read
but
it.
you have- you have
said
great
that.
too.
You don't have to direct
I
your
know.
daughter.
You're not gonna not get it. We're walking into anything, pretty much.
There's
So
no
this
idea
works so
what's
we can
happening.
see the direction, I guess, so.
Bill wants to play every role.
So this scenario,
Highly agitated, I just jumped out of bed, people were arguing about what they wanna do with me, I just went to Stern Hall.
and so, yeah, great. So I guess we're gonna go to the point, maybe initially we take it back if they're successfully bringing the reflect back to you, or maybe even get to the point of like naming emotion, great, or acknowledgement, I guess. But then after a little bit calm, and put something maybe alarming aside, and then quickly de-escalate and your behavior.
And that probably pause.
It also talks about calming down enough to be like able, like we talked about before, where we have, I can think executively one thing, but I can't think of anything past that, in my plotting how to get out of the room.
Right, maybe initially
Throughout
we're
the-
looking at,
okay.
what's the next step, yeah.
Yeah.
But it's all so confusing,
Right.
and even planning, getting out of the room is like a thing that you can't even quite.
And I think that what's nice about this scenario is especially the first bullet point here, under characters' concerns, it really tries to get you into the mindset of what this character would be feeling when they come into the room.
And in terms, I was gonna say, in terms of triggers, maybe any long sentences would trigger you. Anything about where you are, what the day is, that triggers you even further. You're more
Yeah.
agitated.
Yeah.
Because you don't know.
Right, yeah, but I can't speak sentences or anything like that, so.
We need the behavioral response.
Okay. Hello, you have somebody called rapid response? I'm Jabron, I'm one of the nurse practitioners from the rapid response team.
Run!
Davina, you look very upset. You look very upset. Are you feeling really agitated, sir? Yeah. Are you feeling really frightened too? You look really upset and frustrated too, and upset, agitated. I won't get close. You feel frightened. We're here to help you. We're the doctors and the nurses at the hospital. Do you know where you are? Do you know that you're in the hospital? Are you aware that you're
Home.
You think you're home? Okay. Actually, you're in.
I'm home, go home!
You'd like to go home. Okay. And it looks to me like you're having trouble expressing what you want to say. Is that right? Wow. How long have you been upset like this? How long have you been upset like this? Do you know? Has it been a few hours? Or has it just started? Time.
Who's home? Who lives at home?
Home.
You live with family? Friends? Where's home?
Lindsay?
Married. You don't have to be so frightened. We're here to help you. You're in the hospital to be helped. You have a brain tumor. Is that right? Is that right? That's what you have. Is that why you're having trouble? That's why you're having trouble talking. Are you feeling a little confused? Or it's mainly just problems getting the words out?
pause.
So let's pause.
That's Oscar-worthy.
Well, yeah. Well, so in terms of, well, obviously in the real training right now, we would obviously start to debrief a little bit. Just so we can also give some guidance to the actors while they're here. Is that correct in terms, not correct? that's
Are
not
there
the
other
word,
things-
but
are
Are
there
there
other
things,
things
would
that
you want her to be more
That would be the way
verbal?
a
Would you
patient
want
with a
her to-
brain tumor who has aphasia
Yeah,
can't speak
exactly.
fluently and may not be able to get the right words out. That may be the way they would talk, obviously. So when she was talking, made me feel like, oh, wow, she's got aphasia. The other part of her, she looked very frightened, so I wondered if she was feeling a little paranoid, or just what happens when people have aphasias, they get very, very frustrated and they can't express themselves. And so they kind of reach their wits' end. But it looked a little bit more than just being very frustrated.
Is that the right level you
Yeah.
want our actors to play?
Would you want them to be a little more verbal
More.
than that? Would you want them to?
No, that's
Yeah, I think
fine.
that.
Was this
That's
a
fine.
good portrayal of what you see?
I think so.
I
Yeah,
think
it was-
what I would want her to do was to respond to my safe sounding, beautiful.
Is that your hope?
Yeah.
And to start to come down and to see how.
I
She
think that's
did.
the point.
She did for
Yeah.
a second.
Right.
But you don't wanna do that in this role play.
Well, no, I mean,
Not
you were
necessarily.
starting to feel that way, and then you said to yourself, then I said something that
Then you said something that triggered me off again.
triggered you off, I saw
Yeah.
that. Now, what was it that I said that triggered you off? You're in the hospital.
A couple of things, yeah.
You have a brain
The first
tumor.
one was you're in the hospital, or you think you're home. It was like, no, I know I'm not home, I don't know where I am, but I wanna go home.
I wasn't understanding it.
Exactly.
And you can be less attentive. I think your attention
Mhm.
was maybe too good.
Okay.
You can look less attentive.
No,
mean, I-
it's perfect.
She's very intuitive.
No, you need to have a
They
little.
disagree. Now
So
you're-
in order to do a training for
But it might
people,
be
you
different
can't
on
set
each
them up
person.
for absolute failure.
Right,
No,
but
I
this
think-
is the one where we're
I
gonna
think-
need to administer the medication, so
Right.
it's the one where the verbal de-escalation doesn't work.
I
It's
would
not
have
gonna work.
administered medication whether she was more verbal or less verbal, or just exactly.
I think for the
That was-
purpose of the verbal de-escalation, engaging is key, because that's intimidating. When you're not paying attention to me, that's less intimidating, I think, personally. Like, learn the tools. So if you're engaging, it's, in a way, I'm learning how to engage with you. If you're not engaging, I think
Yeah.
it's kind of, I think, I know it's a more
Did you-
challenging
yeah.
setting, like overall, but it might be, you might have better learning if you're engaging.
Yeah,
and
Were you
And
saying less
Chevron
attentive
did
or
something
more?
really
I
well.
think less attentive.
Chevron did something really well, that he got at something that was emotionally safe for you in some way, or very, very critically emotionally important, right? He started to talk about
Yeah.
family, right?
Maybe for some patients, it might be the trigger.
Right.
I mean, just,
It depends.
I don't know if it was a good or bad, but
And you
It's
picked
right.
up on her cue, she said home, and you said
Yeah.
who's at home.
yeah.
Right.
So maybe
And
I
that
just
gives
wanna
a
take
clue to what
step
she was
back
trying to
from-
get back to.
Because before we get to verbal de-escalation part, because part of this module is also situational awareness too. And I saw you were doing, I'm sorry to interrupt, but I just want to quickly, before we get started, that I saw you were trying to tiptoe around and edge around, and I mean, part of the module should also be how are you situated in the room.
So we were actually
Physically.
blocking her exit, weren't we?
Right. and I
But
guess
she
we-
found her exits. I think you weren't blocking it to.
Yeah.
You gave her
I think
space,
we
I think.
we can take a-
You said, I'm
We
not
did.
coming close. You said, I'm gonna sit right here.
I think we can take a pause, like at this point when she runs out, and then sort of ask everyone, how did you feel?
Yeah.
How was this
Right.
distance between the patient and the team members?
It's also important to start naming what you want them to do. So what skills, what you
Right.
see them doing that is the right thing to do. If there's something, what didn't feel comfortable, what was, was there something that you weren't sure where to do, what, and then ask the other people. So
Yeah,
that
this-
part is really important.
This is where the content gets reinforced, so it's important to
Yeah.
obviously
Mhm.
teach to what we've said in the module.
And I guess part of my confusion was, how high am I escalating it? Was the point at the end for them to actually have to medicate me? Was that the point?
That
So
was
in
the
which case,
point.
I should have escalated much higher.
No.
That's
That's
it.
too much.
I don't know, I guess that's my question.
That was
Well,
a
yeah,
pretty,
even-
pretty escalated.
The question is, as actors, are we reinforcing your skills
Right,
or are we
that's the-
ignoring your skills?
Right.
Because we're taught to reinforce your
right.
skills
So
by.
this
Yeah, that's the question I asked
particular
last time.
scenario, it's gonna be a mix where maybe, you know, someone who's soft and kind of, you can start, you can try, but
Okay.
you're not, it's not gonna work.
And that
You're-
will be clear when the facilitator comes out and tells us.
Yeah, like if
Which
someone's doing,
scenario?
if
Yeah,
someone's
okay.
doing positive things, like they're, you know, they're
No,
paying
it's a
attention,
very
they're.
important point. The question is, you know, if you're trying to teach verbal de-escalation, you kind of want.
But that's not the
Right,
purpose
right,
of
that's not
this
the-
one.
we're
So
not
I
doing
think
that.
this would have been a wonderful verbal de-escalation case scenario, but we
But
want.
you can still give medications to someone
Sure.
who you've been able to.
But it's not-
So a successful verbal escalation to someone who you're giving medicine is, I could get her to basically sit down and say, okay,
Right, you can still give a
we'd
lot
like
of
to-
reassurance
we'd like
while
to give
you're,
you some
while you're
medicine,
holding
you
someone
feel
down,
like-
right?
So I thought
Is it, sorry,
I thought this was good in the way that you responded initially. There was initially, as you approached, you backed up and you responded to that. And then the idea is that there's some sort of cue that maybe no one else in the room is picking up on, that just abruptly said, I don't know in this case what it was that sent you running, but that's there should be like some spontaneous cue that's not responsive to
Or
anything.
maybe some more, seeming more paranoid, or like you're experiencing
Or you hear
that we're not
something, you
used
see
to.
something, or suddenly the doctor looks to you as
So the objective-
yeah,
You're
yeah.
trying to hurt me, something along those
the
lines.
objective of this training, but this module was to train the providers on giving pharmacological therapy, right?
To recognize what might be the point where.
Sure.
Yeah.
And keep
I would-
yourself safe and the patient.
And
Sure.
just engage.
I don't know if it's possible, but I think it would be a good idea to make, to look more like a patient, if possible.
Well, that's what I was saying.
If you have a gown,
Right.
you have
Oh, yeah.
you have a central line, we can tape or something, something to make it, because looking at somebody that's in regular clothes, that just, I'm gonna just talk you out of this as best as I can. It's just, I think it sets the mood, you're afraid of them hurting themselves, maybe pulling the central line out or some catheters. I think it's good to make it realistic in that way, because if you want the group to go, a certain way, where you're thinking about pharmacological therapy, it's,
We can do that.
Yeah.
So maybe we kind of taped,
Something like
that
that. Line or
she
something.
breaks off before she leaves.
So you also want verbal de-escalation to fail, I think, at some point in this role play.
Right.
So the person who's doing the role play, the learner, feels like, this is not gonna work, I
Right.
have to
It
call
has to be
security,
something
I have to
else.
get additional help.
So
My
when
verbal
she
de-escalation
left,
is
do you
not
think
gonna-
that
Maybe
would've-
that's the point.
that's
There
Right,
you are, the
exactly.
help.
So would it be helpful for you as an actress if you received that cue from outside, or you determined that on?
No, that was, I got it from internally from them and I saw an opening and that was fine. I mean, I would have no idea that there'd be security on the other side of the door, right, to
But-
grab me.
And then as facilitators, we pause here, we say, okay, so, we point out the things that you tried to do very nicely, and maybe. we
I
sort
get
of-
them to try to talk to her first.
Right.
What did you do that was working? What didn't seem to be working?
What would you do now?
What could you do now and get them, the people who just did it, and then the other people watching, and then if they don't, or they need guidance, then you guys, as facilitators, would fill in. It's much more powerful learning when people are very active,
I agree.
So,
and you can recognize.
so I think that in this scenario, we can also, at this point, we can also have the, co-leader decide how to involve security. This is clearly, this is a patient who's not gonna let leave, out of the door, right? She has to be kind of held and brought back. I don't think we're gonna actually leave someone down, but I think we can sort of, we have the co-leader say, okay, security should be present, this patient should not be allowed to leave.
Again, we need to identify before every scenario, every simulation, that what are our learning points of improvement.
So I think coming in as part of the teaching process, like when you walked in, what was your sense of where you were standing or where she was moving? Like what was your sense of her, that what are the things that you immediately picked up on? And then we can ask the group, I guess, if there's anything, how do you feel like they were standing? And then ask the actress, how did you feel by their presence?
Right.
And that captures the
Jim,
situation.
do you think verbal escalation works in this patient? The answer
Yeah.
is, doesn't seem to
A little
be.
bit, but not
So, like,
sustainable.
This is
If
the
the
patient
learner-
where we need to,
If the learner was at the point where they wanted to administer medication, would you tell them like to kind of, right, say, okay, now is when I would do this? And
Or,
kind
yeah,
of
what
stop
might you,
the-
what might you turn, what might be
But
the
if,
next
if they wanna
strategy?
do that before you time them out, right?
Well, can you speak
If that's what they
private-
would do in a real situation, you should give them that instruction before to say like, if your next step is to do that, because we're obviously not gonna simulate giving that.
Is it possible to give cues to the actor in some way with a sign or something that nobody else sees? You know,
Go.
we want you guys to like,
Yeah.
we want them to administer medication. Start pulling out stuff
we
or
could,
start.
we could direct them before
Or
they.
something
Yeah,
like
yeah,
that.
that
Or,
should be
again,
sufficient, right?
simple goals. Every simulation, what are our goals? What are we trying to teach? And I think if you stick with that, and then, you know, we can work with the actors, and depending on the learner, you might have to do different things, but the overall goal should always be there. We should have a goal. This scenario, this is what we're trying to get.
So that's like where in the learner version of the scenario, it would be really helpful to have that goal written out explicitly on the bottom. Like, the goal for this specific
Yes.
role play is.
Right,
that
so,
they have
so
that.
at this point, Siobhan, I think what we need to do is we need to get security, we need to get more than one security
For
guard.
her?
We need to get a few security guards. We have to bring her back in the room, and let's get her into the bed. And, I think we need to give her medications. She doesn't.
Just
have
because
an
she
IV.
wants, she's just, I mean, realistically, I don't know if I would give her medication.
Yeah.
She hasn't
You
shown
want
me
more
any.
agitated. I think that's your
I want
point,
something
right?
more
She's-
personally.
She's like, are you acting out?
I'm just
Well,
saying.
we're also not gonna we're not gonna
She's
have
not gonna
objects
let
being
her run out of the
thrown and
hospital.
like,
Well, I mean, that's the
that's where the,
question though,
right,
because
how, like, you
Should
don't
you
actually
knock
want her to
something
get
over?
violent, right?
So how
You can
violent
kick a chair.
Yeah, if you wanna be
Yeah.
like, you know, you can kick a chair, or you can do something.
Yeah.
Maybe your first attempt to leave, it's a little bit confusing if you're lunging at the person or at the exit. And I think that's also a way of
Do you think that would be
stress.
too difficult for people?
And I think we need to,
Well, this is what we're
Yeah, that's why I'm
putting
thinking
people in the scenario
picking a
where
wall
they're-
or a chair
yeah.
might be
and I
better.
think we need to be careful, because there are some patients that are totally with it and wanna leave.
Right.
They have capacity.
Yeah.
So then that's.
She-
So we have to be,
She wasn't, she wasn't.
She didn't, yeah.
That's a good discussion.
I know.
I mean, I don't know.
She didn't look to me like she had capacity.
Okay,
Right,
I'm
but
just
you're-
saying, not
yeah.
everybody,
I think that's the point, you recognize
Sarah
it,
does.
but maybe the
That's not
behavioral
doing
arts
it.
have difficult time recognizing.
or, you know, I mean, I get it, not having the capacity, like, it's very obvious. Sometimes it's not,
No, yes.
That
absolutely,
obvious.
absolutely.
so I'm
I
just
think,
saying.
I think
This is very
something that you can do to show that is, as opposed to outward violence, maybe personal violence, because that's something an actor can control and do to themselves that you guys notice as something
So
bad.
we have to stop those.
Yeah, that you have to stop, so it's easier for me to be like hitting my head and you think I'm really hitting my head, but I'm not, because I'm acting.
Yeah.
Yeah, or
Right.
as
That's
opposed to
better.
going to
That's better.
someone else,
That's
because
right.
that's
That's
always
right.
dangerous, and you
Yeah.
never know what's gonna trigger that other person that
Mhm.
might
You
actually
get me
hurt
a
the
case right
actor.
there.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, you're right, you're
For
right.
my personal safety.
No, that's a good point.
That's a great idea.
should feel bad for it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's true.
That's a good.
So that you still want to de-escalate and have them stop, you don't wanna have them hurt, but you don't want them to do something to somebody else.
The purpose of this scenario was to get medication.
Get medications, get security, and then,
Identify the point with verbal de-escalation, you need to move on to, like, your algorithm, when you need to get to the next algorithm.
So with the verbal de-escalation scenario, there's a verbal de-escalation.
Yeah, there's-
And in that one, are we successful?
Yes.
Verbally?
Yes.
Yeah, although not necessarily in
try that
a
one
linear
first.
way.
We did
That's
this
when your
now
lovely
because we
voice
wanted-
works.
Yeah.
We
We
did
wanted
this because
Yasmin
Yes
for
needed
this.
to leave, and we wanted her to see this one,
Oh.
because we've already
Yeah.
tried the other one.
In the actual training,
This
the
one's
verbal
hard.
one would
Yeah.
come first. and
But the
this one
other
is-
thing that's important, I think, is when in the didactics, if we can come up with some very specific skills, like
To use.
to use, so that then we can refer to it, that they know, that actors know what we're going for, little, we can point that out, and then they walk away with like, I use this, I didn't use that, it's very specific, it's helpful, I think, as learners.
Well, so for instance, Andrew, when Sharon and I walked in and we were talking to her, what did you see us do that was good or bad in terms of verbal de-escalation?
So, yeah, I mean, I think, right, in terms of the physical stance and posture.
You gave her space.
You gave her space, everyone has a different personal space, and you tested it, and then you backed up, perspective it.
Right, I walked closer, she did, so I
Yeah.
walked out.
I don't know if that's a specific skill we've labeled yet.
Is attention to safety?
But we talk about nonverbal too, which
Yeah.
you do, I think, mention, so it's,
Be more specific.
yeah.
What else, what about
So
the stuff
your
we
tone.
talked about?
Yeah,
So I
Labeling.
reflected back on her, use reflection.
initially I got, it was a acknowledgement / emotional naming. Emotional naming, you're saying you're frightened, you're confused, and then, but there was also a physical reflection. She was a little bit crouched, and you reflected back her posture. And then once it was clear that the emotional naming wasn't working, that's when you reflected back home, and it was something you were trying to clarify, use a clarification, that didn't work, and so you went right back to reflection. And it seemed to have a very apparent effect, which seemed to be getting better.
Yeah, so actually those specific skills might be very helpful to point out the verbal de-escalation thing. And
Is there a way you could have offered an option for her, or a choice? Was there any point where you felt like you could offer an option, or given her permission to do what she's already doing?
oh, so that's something we didn't do.
Do you think, yeah,
We could have said, you can keep pacing, that's okay.
you want, yeah. Would you like me to sit down or stand up, or would be more comfortable sitting or standing? You might not have been able to understand, or generally with perceptive aphasia, there's some comprehension intact, but you might be just too worked up to hear it.
We didn't try that.
No, I agree. I think part of successful de-escalation is making them feel that they have control and asking for permission, working with them. I think this is something, this is important to highlight when you do your presentation, and
Exactly.
you can apply it.
Exactly, then you talk about how that played out in the scenario.
Deb and Ron, do you think it's useful in this role to actually practice organizing the team? Like, who will sort of make the medication suggestions, who will, tell the nurse to, is that
I
something that
think
needs to be
the
practiced? Does that
scripted-
happen naturally?
But that just happens naturally,
It
because
does.
there's always gonna be one LIP, one,
Okay.
RRT, RN, like that's proscribed
gonna-
and it,
Yeah. The prescriber would be
Yeah.
obviously the EP.
and usually as soon as we show up, everybody defers to us.
That would be something that, when she ran out of room, I would confer with Sharon. I said, okay, we need security to bring her back, we need to
Yeah.
have security to keep her in the, try to keep her in the bed. Let's get somebody to prepare at a minute. Let's
And then-
get more security.
And then maybe like
Let's think about restraining her.
and then maybe we'll, as facilitators, we'll use this opportunity to talk to the group, what dose might you start with?
Right, that
which
we
would-
talked about.
What
I'd
route
give
of
her like
administration?
3 milligrams of Haldol and then 2 milligrams of Ativan.
Yeah.
Because she's not that big, she's not that small.
What
Can you
might
give
you-
Ativan IM?
We can give it IM.
And then what might you wanna monitor side effects wise after you?
Which we pay attention to.
Yeah, what would you pay attention
One of the
to,
questions whether you can mix the two, I think you can in one syringe, but, instead of sticking it twice, let's
That's good.
inform us.
That's something you should know before the lecture. That's very good.
Should we try a little
Yeah.
piece of something?
Should we do this one again?
Yes.
And then we can do the other ones, which are a little more straightforward.
Can I ask
Yeah.
a medical question? So with aphasia, are you comprehending what the person's saying that you can't
So there are
speak?
several different types of aphasia.
Okay.
With expressive aphasia, you can't get the word, you know what words you want to say, but you just can't get them out. So something might come out like one word or gibberish.
Okay.
It's hard to come up with good gibberish, so
Yeah.
one word. And then there's receptive aphasia, where you don't understand what someone's saying.
Okay, and is that what's
But
the
you
scenario?
can talk, and because you don't understand what people are saying, what you're saying doesn't have anything to do with what you were just asked.
But that's not what we're gonna be focusing on in our
Yes,
scenario. So maybe we should do it again and have a
So I
different
think-
actor.
Yeah, Nick, do you
She
want?
Well,
has
you
a
guys
classic
and
special
Deb.
phrase, which
Your
is,
eyes just.
which is,
So that next
which is a
year-
nice, which is a nice one to do.
Our,
I'll
our instructions are that, like, we know what we wanna say, but we
We
can't.
can understand what they're saying,
Alright.
But we also just can't pay
And,
attention because we're
sometimes
so,
you can
because
have-
we're
so
so
disoriented,
crazy.
so it doesn't
Yeah.
matter what they're saying.
Sometimes you can have.
Yeah.
expressions
Okay, that was
where
sort of what I was
say
getting
what
at.
you might
Concentrate on
want to
this.
say, like a phrase.
This is the
So
only
that's,
stuff I know.
so you're saying that's the actors?
What?
Yeah, you're gonna, like.
I missed that.
Bill, can you say that again, that you can say more than a word?
This is
You can say a
urgent.
phrase?
And
I
now
think he's
yeah.
saying that you don't have to
Seema
speak.
calls
Well,
being very nauseous, he
Who's
wants
the
to
actor?
speak to you right away.
Yeah,
Okay.
So-
Does he know that?
yes.
The idea of a
His
vision,
eyes
I sent it
that
to you,
way.
it should be in your email.
it's very stilted, you can
Will
get
you be
it,
able to
but-
call him today? Okay,
but-
thanks.
But it's like, the words are like molasses, to mountain, to the, maybe the home, to my home, and then just that frustration, you did a great job with that frustration.
It's kind of like a stutter in some way, but it's like a whole word stutter.
Right.
And like a thought, thinking
I
stutter.
mean, they're saying here that you can repeat the sentence that was spoken to you, but you can't come up with your.
Yeah, echolalia is prominent.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
can't
you
do
guys
that
leave the
yourself.
room. You guys give Nick a little direction.
Just nobody should punch our TV screens.
What is our
That makes me nervous.
pharmacological therapy?
Did you get that out?
You can get all of that. Yeah, you can say that if you come, so we don't have to exactly repeat.
But
I think for this
So,
purpose, of just.
so background, I don't know if they know, but we can maybe just say drinking, withdrawals.
That's the next one.
That's
Is
not.
that the next one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the other one.
Alright, so what,
This is just.
I think,
I mean,
I
what-
think we'll just have them be able to say.
what would be obvious that he needs pharmacological therapy, he's trying to hurt himself?
He's gonna say that, I'm gonna hurt you, I'm closer.
But at first, that's my thing.
You're paranoid.
I don't know where you
you're
are,
confused.
you're very afraid, you can't trust anyone, you're very unsure of who's speaking. And as a way to protect yourself, you're telling anyone that comes close to you that you are not.
Okay.
Is somebody giving them information a little bit about the patient, or?
Yeah,
It's
so
the same
we-
patient, it's the same, we're just picking up.
Oh,
This is
same.
the same one,
Oh,
we're doing
got
it
it.
again, but
Okay.
yes, in the real training, we'll give them like a very brief blurb about what they're gonna want to do.
Understood.
You the RT.
Hi, Nick. Hey, it's Dr. Edelstein. Okay. Need some space? Having some trouble? You feeling a little tired? Alright. You got it.
Very frustrating. Okay, we said.
What's the best for you? You want us here?
Look, leave.
Want us to leave? You leave?
Leave now! Leave!
I have to do my job right now. Because part of my job is to help you. I know you want me to leave. I want to help you. I want to introduce you to my colleague too. Looks like you're in a lot of pain. Something wrong with your head? Okay, so how would you take the time out now? I don't know.
Don't come any closer to me or I'm gonna hurt you.
Yeah, I'm not gonna come.
Do not come in.
Honestly, I don't know.
Because you don't know us.
We gotta do our jobs. We gotta make sure, we have to understand why you don't want us to. Are you scared of us? Are you scared of being here? Alright. So time out.
Yeah, I would probably call it there, right? I would, he's, so, and I think maybe it's worth, having you guys and everyone in the room point out some of the physical signs of seeing, like clenching. Oh, correct. Yeah, so what did you think you guys did well this year?
You did quiet very well.
Gave him space. You, gave him choices.
I mean, I walked in and I was like, this is gonna be trouble.
You reflected, when
This
you
is
said
someone who
leave, you
needs
said
a
why do
haircut.
you want it?
You introduced yourselves.
And I have a really good barber.
Really?
Yes, Israeli, straight.
I'm getting my haircut tomorrow, so I'm actually gonna talk to you.
Okay.
Despite, yeah, and despite the person being escalated, you still both kind of maintained your cool and kept your voice low, soft.
That was scary, man. I thought.
I have to say, they didn't do anything that escalated the situation at all. In fact, they made the patient feel like he's in a safe environment, so he can speak. I think what we wanted was him to do something that would elicit a pharmacological
Mhm.
response. And we had to do a better job, I think, of, structuring the situation. That would
Maybe
make,
it makes it more obvious that he's on the
that's more odd, because you know what, I'm not giving him any medication. This is something I can, this is something I can talk to.
So
Again, there has to be something there.
I would step
Would
out.
have, I guess the thought is that,
He kept hitting himself.
there was, yeah, he's still a little bit of that, but that, the question is, if I step out, that's not actually an option. It is, but it isn't, because I still have to get this behavior under control to keep him safe, and the question that I had in my head was like, if I bring in security, I don't even know what, that's gonna do, and is our security team actually prepared to kind of hold him down to give him that? So I wasn't thinking that no, I couldn't, I was still in my head thinking, how do I get him to
So
a
you would have
place
given
where
him
I
meds.
can
You would have
give
given
him
him
that?
meds.
So what I would have done as a facilitator is I would have stopped it earlier. So when they've done a little bit, it's not working. Okay, so what are our options right now? And then let you verbalize, what are the thoughts in your head?
Yeah.
So you're thinking, okay, well, I'm a little bit threatened, I'm not sure what he's gonna do. I kinda want security, but I don't know if that's gonna work. Are meds an option? And you can talk that through with the group.
See,
Yeah.
And then
I
you
would've-
can-
I would've given meds, I would've given meds a while ago, because I'm recognizing, so,
But
not
we're
only is
not-
he confused, right, but he's also very distressed, and I know that my medication is going to treat both. It's gonna help him calm down and be less of a threat to everyone else, and he's gonna feel better. But if I approach him,
Right.
he's going to attack.
That's why he's security.
So that,
And it can't be one
Right, you got
security.
the
Taking
next-
a step back into as role playing as facilitators. So I mean, I think as a facilitator, the way to engender that is to say, okay, at what point did you feel this wasn't going to go anywhere? Or what point did you feel really physically unsafe? I mean, I would say certainly the heading. There's a lunging. There's a sweeping movement to go.
He said, I'm gonna hurt you.
Yeah.
Hurt you.
And then you can also talk through what would it do for him, and then you can say, okay, so now, let's say it's escalated, you can tell them a little bit more what you want the actor to do, so it's escalated a little bit more, that doesn't work, and so now you're thinking, okay, I think I need to get security medication, go, and then let them continue on.
Yeah, I think that's-
You
I
can
think
provide
it's-
that guidance as a facilitator.
yeah, rather than let it just go
Yeah.
on and on.
Right.
Like say, this is where we're going now. So we have to obviously figure out security, again, as Deborah pointed out.
We
the
direct
rules-
security, they will do what we tell them, including putting their hands on.
Well, the policy, I read the policy, they can put restraints on. But we have to, again, this is not for today, but offline, we need to talk to Mark Moody and his folks, that these are the expectations. In some scenarios, when you come up, the staff will ask you to do A, B, and C. So,
Yeah, which my understanding they will do, but I.
and they should be part of the training too.
Yeah,
I think
but
they
I
should
do
do.
wanna point out that in both scenarios, I mean, I've got 34 years, I've never seen two people let this out of control.
Good.
It's like real
So
patients.
honestly, I actually have been in a situation
Yeah.
and I was strangled. So,
Oh, okay.
like, I.
At Sloan
you know,
Kettering?
Ooh.
Not at Sloan,
Oh,
but in
okay.
my other job, and it
Which was a medical inpatient?
Yeah.
Oh, God,
Because
bad.
like, but it was like, I wasn't in a position where I could give meds.
Oh, I
And
see.
so I saw escalating behavior throughout the night, called someone to come in to assess so that I could give meds. I couldn't, and in trying to ensure the patient's safety, I was like caught between my own safety and the patient's safety, and I opted to try to protect the patient.
Wow.
And then he just came and strangled me. So I have seen it, and so,
But was he behaving like this?
he was agitated, standing up, and,
Right.
like he had like an IV pump. Like this is where like visual cues like really play into
But
role
not to, it
plays.
wasn't.
What
the
was
side-
driving it?
Wasn't the sniper turned up, was it?
Yeah,
And what
it
was driving it though?
Really?
He was like acutely delirious. He
Yeah.
probably
something in the
some
medical-
sepsis,
Okay.
yeah, and like was getting chemotherapy. It was like hooked up to an EpiPen that almost worked out. He broke the acronym.
Was he in bed or standing up?
He was standing up at that point.
I would suggest when we do the role plays,
So,
we
like-
don't get, we don't want that scenario because people are gonna be,
Just
we
too
need to go,
skilled.
we need to maybe go one level down. I don't think we wanna go any more than these guys are
Yeah.
doing, cause
Yeah.
it's.
Yeah, I mean, but that's where we really need you are the ones who see this.
Yeah,
We
so
want
when
this
you
to be
see that
realistic
people
in terms of.
when they get called, what are they gonna look this elevated? Or is it gonna be a little bit?
They might
I
look
think
this.
rarely, but yeah.
Really,
So
but they.
what,
I feel like usually they'll be somewhat amenable. I think that they would be a little bit more amenable to some degree of verbal de-escalation. So like when I said, do you think we could sit down?
Yeah.
They might initially sit down, but
But
then
then get up,
maybe like if as I'm
exactly.
talking, I'm
Exactly.
not
And those are
guiding
still
the
the
right
people
way.
you're gonna give medicines to.
Yeah, cause then like once they're sitting down, even then I would feel better even at that point calling in security, because
Right.
even for security, I feel like they're more able to handle
Security,
that patient.
safer.
Yeah.
So again, just to simplify, like to the group, if you have a patient that's acting like this, you offer very quickly, you offer choices to sit. If they sit, that's a.
Or you sit, if they
Or
want
you
you to sit, so.
Right.
Yeah, and there's a step in the right direction, just, some bullet points with things that.
There's also some gut instincts, right? There's gonna be some situations, I wouldn't have sat in this case, I wouldn't have felt comfortable.
If he did?
But if he did, sure, but
Have you ever seen anyone as agitated as the two?
not on the medical floors, but
No.
yeah, in ERs, sure. Yeah, so I have seen cases like that, so I would have positioned myself as close to the door. I also know my limitations. I would have been close to the door, I would have made sure that I
How
definitely
about
had
you,
more
Andrew?
people coming.
Have you seen people with this act?
We had one patient who strangled, that guy was probably maybe a little more fluent and more expressive, but just as, eruptive.
He strangled a nurse.
Yeah, and then there was another patient we had recently who was this amnestic, the case was based off of, who maybe again, the problem was he was Chinese speaking, so we weren't sure exactly what he was saying, but it was.
Most of these people were strangled, they were like in bed, right, and they.
One of them came up and started walking out the door, and the nurse, and that's a skill we really want to teach, is the nurse blocked the way
Okay.
and was strangled.
All right, maybe I'm too old now, I don't remember
But I think maybe.
Can I try it again with a French accent?
Hold on a second, guys, Sheila?
Yeah.
No, I just had a question about, neither team spoke to each other. Is that normal?
wait, what do you mean another team?
You guys didn't talk to each
teams.
other, you guys didn't talk to each
Well, he
other.
didn't talk to
Who's
each
I
other.
different
don't
there?
wanna, I don't wanna talk to him because he had the situation under control.
Okay,
And as long as somebody has the situation under control, he's kind of leading it, I'm okay with that. As long as there's, and again, it's Dr. Breitbart's here, right? So he's using his tools, so I'm gonna keep quiet. Unless there's something to discuss and run off each other. I didn't feel like at that moment there was any need to pause and just,
But maybe that's the
Patient
direction we
ran
could
out.
give you.
I just wonder if they would know that, or, you know.
Yeah, I think that we were both kind of like a little stumped. And
Yeah,
I think
I
that
felt
was
that
part
way.
of it, whereas if one of us had felt strongly in one way, then you probably would have
Right.
seen more of us like, all right, I think we need to
Also,
call
like, if you have
security
really
and
paranoid-
Uh-huh.
If you have a really paranoid patient, you guys talk, whisper to each other.
Yeah.
sometimes.
Yeah, they might not.
What are
like
you
that.
saying?
Talking
Oh
about
my
it.
God.
But when
It
I'm
is a
doing that as an
conspiracy.
actress, you can say like, I want water or something, that might be an opportunity, like, oh, I'll go get the water, you're okay here.
Yeah, and I think, often in a hyper-aroused state, so you kind of want to limit the stimulus, I think, too. You don't want to have too many people coming at them. But you asked a slightly different question, which is conferring with each other, which I think we probably would do at a point where we saw, oh, okay, this is not working.
So I think if we let this continue naturally, if we take the time out, we would say, okay, we're gonna be rested, we just have to talk, and then we could step out and say,
Should we leave them alone in the room with him?
I mean, I probably would, just give them a sense of control of the situation, and then say, all right, step out, be like, all right, let's talk to security, we're gonna need some more people, can you get on the phone more security, I'll bring, you know, ideally if you have a third person, say, can you come in?
Yeah, I'd have security either at the door or inside, just in case he started to do something, if I walked out the room.
And the direction would be like, if he makes contact with us, then we have to hold it.
And I actually did have a situation where we called the police on somebody.
so that was another thing I don't wanna touch on, but I think it's something.
He didn't have delirium.
Yeah,
Or he
it was for a
wasn't
patient?
sick. One of our patients, he was a personality disorder guy who was physically stable, and he was just being abusive to staff and threw his urine at people.
Yeah, arrest him, what did they do?
And they took him to the psychiatrist.
Oh, they took him to the psych.
But I think in terms of direction, what we would give security from the psych side would be like, talk to security, like, look, here's the situation, we need to get this guy down in his bed so we can give him medications. We're gonna try to talk him there, but if he makes any sudden movements, we need your help to.
So,
bring him
I know there's
to
like
that.
40 minutes left at least for me, but my advice would be for this scenario, refine it in such a way where we're getting to the pharmacological therapy, and it's very obvious. And two, security is there, and we have part of the teaching that day, what are their responsibilities, and we're going to use them during these scenarios to help us contain the patient and give medications. So I think that would be my.
What do you mean by it's very obvious? 'Cause
Meaning, again, everybody, you can provide a lot of structure, but everybody has their own background and might do things a little bit differently.
So I think the thing that might really tip you guys up, make it really clear to you guys, if you start talking to somebody, no, stop.
hearing
I
voices.
might
Stop
still
telling
like
me to hurt myself.
Oh, okay,
Something.
that's different. Maybe that's making it more obvious, but otherwise, if he's just, nice hair and shaking it a little bit here and there, I might just let him do that until you guys get there and give us her. What?
Everyone's a critic, Nick.
I think maybe it might be helpful to have props and to have.
Yeah, but as facilitators, it's important that we're all on the same page too,
Exactly.
because facilitators drive it all. They drive all the learning. And so it's really important to be clear of what, as I said, kind of what we're trying to teach,
Yeah.
where we need to intervene, to say, okay, we can reset scenarios easily. So this is happening here, how threatened do you feel? What would you need to see? And you can ask them, you can say, what would you need to see to know whether you should give meds or not? And then you could, the actor could either be in the room or outside, could use those cues and then, okay, let's see what happens, and go there.
Yeah.
And
Will
then-
you be ready by April 3rd? It's in 2 weeks.
Will what be ready?
Us?
So let me ask
Yeah,
you a question.
of course.
Let's say
It's up
this
to
was
everybody.
a
And
rapid
it's
response
here.
team call for a guy who
We
could
can-
vote. The nurse
Somewhere.
neurology, but was seizing,
Okay.
right? And he was like having seizures, partial complex seizures, and he was just agitated. And I once, as a medical resident doing a neuro rotation, I had a guy who came in and he was basically agitated and roaring like a lion. and we were giving him IV Dilantin in the ER, and he ended up like, I was wrestling him on the ground, and tilted him, and then finally all the IV Dilantin went in, and then he turned to me and said, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Oh, wow, I didn't.
You know what I'm saying? So let's say it was like rapid response. It wasn't the behavior rapid response, just regular rapid response, you know? But seizures, you guys would have.
But we don't get a lot of those kind of seizures where they're like talking.
So let's stop talking, let's try to do a little more role play.
Yeah, why don't we do the Bill Stewart one?
It's a good one.
Kenan, do you wanna be, you can.
Oh, I haven't read that one.
Oh, you haven't?
I've
We
read
could do the
Sarah
Syracuse.
Hughes.
We could do that one, and then we could do, Arthur, you could do the Bill Stewart one.
Yeah, I grew my hair just here.
Are you getting it all cut out?
Rotated resident.
Oh, no,
For a
I don't
role?
like that for this training.
For a role?
Yeah, no, I can wear a wig.
Joking.
Is it for a role?
I'm going,
Wow.
yeah, I'm going clean cut. I look 10 times better. I look 10 times better.
That's pretty good, you guys figured it out.
We have a barber in Brooklyn. Next, you wanna come to the real,
Do you,
part of New York
do you
City?
guys want to do this one too, while you're, do you wanna think of Rena and Javon? Do you guys wanna do the facilitation?
Literally holding it down.
Okay,
Big black guy. And,
so Rena and Javon, we're gonna have you guys.
No more stories, let's go.
The stories for later. Well, no, your guys are gonna swap with Deb and Andrew. So you,
learners now?
yeah.
All right.
All right.
So we're doing the Sarah Hughes piece.
We're going back out?
So don't tell, we just.
Yeah.
I don't know
Just
anything
know,
about it.
yeah.
Okay.
It's,
Her name's Sarah.
her name is Sarah.
All right.
She's 50.
So here are my
So Deb and Andrew will be the facilitators.
So basically this case is a woman that's,
I'm gonna hold your lessons so I don't hurt you.
it's part of the,
I like it every time I was.
so there's this delirium, confusion, this.
My prescription.
So I'm delirious, or am I just foggy from the meds?
So like the kind of delirium has that range.
Okay.
It's
So
almost
it's
just
the
like-
lower end of that,
Okay.
as opposed to
So I am
extreme.
still confused.
You're confused, but you just feel like this is still the same intense affect as the mother, and you know something you're just not supposed to be here at home. So I guess the direction is that they should be able to comfort you, as long as they don't immediately try to solve your problems. If they're walking in and trying to, you give them put a lot out there, I'd say.
Am I angry mostly? Frustrated?
You're
I wanna go
mad.
home, right?
Yeah.
It's adrenaline rush.
You wanna leave, you're upset, you, yeah,
Fright.
you're,
It's a frightening experience being delirious.
you think you wanna be
Maybe you're seeing-
discharged.
Maybe you're seeing like your.
You don't
dog or
remember
something.
what the conversation was with?
Maybe she sees her dog.
Who's my facilitator?
Who's
You my
guys?
facilitator?
Dr. Parker, we have a lot of respect for you. Yeah.
Am I seeing my dog or not?
My job is just not breaking your glass.
Yes.
So there's this, and that's it,
Take
there's just these gaps, and it's just so frustrating that these gaps are, there's just these certain irretrievable memories, and there's something important to get out, that's the most important thing.
And you wanna go home, you think you're gonna go home.
Okay, so I can not climb.
And then, but I think the things to respond to with them is
But
if
you're
you're
in
trying
pain.
to solve your
I'm
problems.
in pain.
Right.
And am I getting up out of the bed?
Right, to try to get up out of bed, you're trying to get your stuff together, you're trying to get organized to go home, but it's not easy, something
Okay.
about it is just not clicking.
Does she know she's in the hospital?
You know, you're in the hospital, it's mild, but you know, you were, for some reason, you're supposed to be discharged.
And your husband
You
left,
don't
you
understand
can't
why your
reach
husband
him.
isn't here because he didn't wake you up before he
Yeah.
left, so you're like, why am I still here and everybody else is gone?
But I would just respond negatively if they're too, if they try to,
Problem solving.
yeah, if they try to, you have to first open advice.
Precipitated the call.
She threw a
Pitcher.
water pitcher.
Okay, through what? Why would
Yeah,
she
so
throw the
maybe
water
they
pitcher?
know that, right?
No,
Why would she throw the
I
water
don't know.
pitcher?
Do they know that? Would
They
know
wouldn't
that?
know.
I can pretend to be like a nurse, I mean, I'm saying like, look.
Yeah, maybe do that.
Yeah, all right.
Why would she?
And
Because
also
she feels,
she's not-
because she
she's
feels
not-
like the nurse isn't getting it. She's talking to the nurse, and the nurse is saying that she has to get back in bed. It's,
Oh.
And she's
Yeah.
like, I'm
Yeah,
done, I
just
wanna go
inhibited.
home. Like,
Just inhibited.
where's my bed?
So like whoever goes to get them, you can say, because as the rapid response, the first thing out of our mouths is so what happened, why are we here, so we
Right.
could tell them that she just threw a picture across the room.
Would you say she's supposed to be?
Go get her.
Yeah, why don't you go get her and tell them?
Okay, and just that she's not necessarily feeling like it says when she's guarded when the team first comes in, but it's not this case of like she thinks they're gonna
No.
attack her. It's just,
Mhm.
she's kind of like.
She's focused on her,
right.
what she needs to do.
I don't know you, I don't care. Yeah.
Right, yeah, you don't get it, yeah, okay.
Hello, Sarah?
I don't know you guys. I was supposed to be discharged yesterday. I'm getting out of here.
Sarah, we're part of the rapid response team.
I don't care who you are. I don't care what fucking rapid whatever. Where's my husband? That's what I'm asking is.
Yeah, Sarah, you seem really upset. I'm here to help.
You,
Nobody will give me any medications. What the fuck? I'm in pain.
Okay.
Can we sit, Sarah, and so we can just ask you a few questions about your pain? Is it okay for us to sit?
I don't care.
We'll just,
Someone was supposed to call my fucking husband. Where is my fucking husband?
what is your husband's name?
Mike.
What is,
I tried to call him. He's not answering the phone.
Well, Sarah, we'll definitely see if we can get Mike on the phone. Is it okay if we try and help you right now? You seem like you're very upset. And it seems like you're in a lot of pain.
You can help me. You can get me out of here. I just want to see my kids. I haven't seen my kids.
that must be frustrating not being able to see your kids. How long that's been going on?
I have no idea. I have no idea. Somebody talked to the doctor. I don't know who talked. I don't remember.
Do you feel like you're not remembering things? Do you feel like you're more confused, Sarah?
I don't know what they gave me in my IV. They gave me something in my IV and I don't remember.